You know what? This will be a little thing about more like world building I did with Uplift Protocol. So many books I saw would do an angle of like if we met an interstellar species or multiple species, it's basically space UN. You know, just like the United Nations here on Earth, but out in space. I wanted to do something a little bit different. That's why I had like the Council of Five set up. But for the most part, the rest of the species out there, they're all part of a galactic whole, but it's definitely not set up like the UN. Because most of these races have to have their own militaries to protect their borders. They have to watch out for pirates. And even though the pirates don't have as much of varying tech as the more advanced races out there, I basically wanted to have it to where they would be a viable threat. And they are to an extent, especially if you underestimate them. Uh, the biggest reason why Earth is having a little bit of more protection than normal is because a lot of the council races are very interested in the magical aspects of Earth, magical demis. Um, a lot of other races do have some superpowers, that developed over time, but Earth had I wanted to give Earth that one element that would make it stand out a little bit, and that was with the magical demis. So most of the rest of book 1 and a lot of book 2 are going to cover a lot more of that, and then book 3 is basically, if you could tell from the titles, that's going to be basically where Mars comes into play for other aspects. I'm trying to put some seeds in right now, but I think it's going pretty well. But yeah, to get back to my original point, I just didn't want to make all the alien races, pretty much the United Nations in space. Um, Star Trek kind of had a little bit of that bent in some ways, but I think they basically went off and did their own thing. Most books that have UN in space, it's basically most of the alien races will be like, oh, what are those humans doing? Oh, naughty, naughty humans, that sort of thing. I wanted to give a different flair where, like, certain races are more in line with humans' way of thinking. Some aren't. Some are completely alien. Um, just haven't gotten to it yet in the story. But a lot of them I basically did a little quick sheet like, hey, okay, there's this race, here's their capital planet, what is their basic economic system or anything else. And sometimes I even base their economic system not so much on physical wealth, but genetic kind of wealth. Uh, some ways Taifa has a little bit of that going on, where the houses that have more genetic capability with powers or other different abilities, then those are ranked higher. So that's why you have like this council of houses sort of set up. Like the Odessan house is the house of war and all that sort of thing. Some just basic world building for that. But also I've made a race where they don't really trade in actual wealth. They trade with information and a few other things. It's just gonna be a very simple setup that'll eventually build up over time. But I just didn't want to make United Nations in space because I've seen enough of the art United Nations where it's like, meh. I want to get away from a lot of Earth politics, so that's why it really won't show up too much in Uplift Protocol. Like, what politics might show up is like maybe how they deal with the pirates later, but it's going to be more streamlined, not as much red tape, not the bickering back and forth about X, Y, or Z, everything that holds us up in modern day politics. That's what's fun about making your own society or series or whatever. If you don't want that in your books, you don't have to put it in there. You're just making them for yourself. And me, I'm making this just to escape. So there we go. And even now, I've gained like 5 new readers for this thing, so I'm pretty happy. Um, we'll see where I'm. Oh, excuse me. We'll see where I'm at the end of like 2 years. Have a good day, everybody. This was kind of